in fact, dramatic scenes here unfolding,
Right.
where where tear gas is now seen on the screen, where
Right.
now police officers are trying to ensure that protesters do not storm the place, and you can see dramatic scenes on the screen.
Absolutely,
Tear gas being
Poonam. I'm going
thrown
to
ensure
request you to
that the
find a
police
safe
officers,
corner for
don't
yourself
really-
as well. I'm going to request you to find a safe corner for yourself as well, as tear gas shells are now being dispersed over there. Some very dramatic visuals, and those protests getting, as we can see, it's only turning more powerful and stronger as we can see those protesters now being dispersed by tear gas shells. Poonima, I'm going to request you to find yourself a safe spot now. Poonima Murli reporting minute by minute from ground zero near Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Prime Minister's residence. Poonima, please go and rescue yourself. It seems like tear gas shells have been dispersed, and there seems to be a lot of chaos and commotion as those tear gas shells have been dispersed. Poonima Murli, our reporter, has been bringing us minute by minute updates from there. Very powerful and dramatic visuals. We can hear the chopper above the Prime Minister's residence. As you can see, there's very strong security deployment over there. Remember, on Saturday, the presidential palace was stormed in by the protesters, and today, early morning, just a few hours ago, Gotabaya Rajapaksa left for Malé, the capital of the Maldives. He left aboard a Sri Lankan Air Force plane bound for the city of Malé, the capital of Maldives. He was accompanied by his wife and 2 bodyguards. Remember, the Rajapaksas have been trying very hard to leave Sri Lanka. And today, we learned that Gotabaya Rajapaksa has left for Malé. For more details, I also have with me Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, some very dramatic visuals coming over there. It seems like we are going to see a repeat of what happened on Saturday. Of course, protesters are very angry at Gotabaya Rajapaksa fleeing the country, and now their anger seems to be directed towards the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Should we expect his resignation as well, considering today is when the President's resignation will be announced?
It is indeed a very dramatic turn of events that Sri Lankan people are witnessing after continuous protests that they have had in the past several days. Finally, Gotabaya managed to flee the country, which they are very outraged about, because they, in their own mind, have a sense that probably the government will not let Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his family to flee the country, and they will be held accountable for the economic mess that they have left behind as a legacy for Sri Lankan people. In fact, it was reported that the family of Rajapaksa, members of Rajapaksa family, were stopped by immigration authority and the people at various airports before they could catch a flight for other country. In fact, there was also report that the family member of Rajapaksa, they had booked a flight ticket on some commercial plane, but they were not allowed to go through the immigration process, and this is how people in Sri Lanka were trying to not let Rajapaksa or his family members to leave the country. They wanted them to be grilled, to be held accountable, and to be punished probably also for the everyday suffering that they are having because of the political and economic turmoil in Sri Lanka. But this has not happened. Sri Lanka people in the broad daylight almost, the Sri Lankan Air Force has escorted the current president, who is officially still president of Sri Lanka, out of the country, and he has landed safely in Maldives. From there onwards, there is also rumors that he is planning a trip ahead, and Maldives is just a stopover. So this is something that has outraged the protesters, who, remember, are still are keeping the 3 important constitutional buildings under their captivity. That is the Prime Minister's residence, Presidential Secretariat, and President's residence. And they are camping there, and their demand is that until their demands are heard,
Right.
They will not be leaving this site of protest, and they will continue to demand their resignation of Ranil Wickremesinghe as well.
Right. You know, the conundrum still remains, because considering what happens now is the big question that Sri Lanka is actually staring at. Let's not forget that, you know, Gotabaya Rajapaksa's resignation will be announced today. At the same time, I'd also like to refer to the tweet that was sent out by Ranil Wickremesinghe on 9th of July, where he said that even he will be stepping down as Prime Minister. So after Gotabaya Rajapaksa's resignation, it is Ranil Wickremesinghe who's expected to take over. But if he also steps down, what happens next?
So as per the Sri Lankan constitution, in the absence of Sri Lankan president, the Prime Minister will automatically be elevated to the presidential seat. But if Prime Minister is also not available or for some reason resigns, then the Speaker of the House will have that authority to exercise, and it will be an interim government will be formed, and the leader will be chosen accordingly. Currently, all political parties, they are trying to huddle together, and they are trying to discuss among themselves that who could be the leader who has trust of not only the political parties from across the spectrum, but also the common Sri Lankan people. Remember, Ranil Wickremesinghe is the lone MP from his party, though he has been a Prime Minister of Sri Lanka in the past, also on several occasions, but currently he does not have the kind of mandate or the confidence that the Sri Lankan people should have in a government or in a leader. So he is obviously not the first choice, but he still wants to hang there and still wants to cling to the power. And this is why he has said that until unless there will be an interim government, he will remain the president of Sri Lanka. That is his de facto thing because of the absence of the current Sri Lankan president. Still, we are not aware of the official resignation that Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, whether he has submitted or not. It was said that Rajapaksa will be submitting his resignation on the 13th, but officially, still it is not clear whether he has already submitted his resignation or he is yet to submit. Today is 13th, and we can expect some more dramatic turn of events to happen. Meanwhile, the protests that we are seeing, the kind of outrage which the Sri Lankan people are witnessing, this is something is very in a telling thing that the people do not have trust in the current dispensation. They want a total change in the government setup. They wanted, in fact, few of the
all right, Purnima is back with us. Abhishek, stay with us as I go back to Purnima, who's been very valiantly, in fact, reporting from ground zero. Purnima, give us the latest updates. I hope you're doing safe and sound, considering you were there when the tear gas shells were fired on those protesters.
Well, when these protesters tried to enter the Prime Minister's office, which was heavily guarded, in fact, tear gas was fired to ensure that protesters don't storm the Prime Minister's office, and that's when tear gas was opened and protesters had to run from that place. But right now, heavy security deployment, and whenever protesters try to enter or try to open the gates of the Prime Minister's office, tear gas is fired to ensure that protesters don't really storm the place, because right now Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe still holds power, and there are important documents inside, and that they want to ensure that is heavily guarded, which is why you can find that whenever protesters outside the Prime Minister's office, they try to storm the gates, or tear gas is being fired. At least 2 rounds of tear gas have been fired, and you can find scores of people waiting outside the Prime Minister's office, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister as well.